Week 2 NFL is upon us and everyone is looking to cash in on the big money at FanDuel. Every week, we'll bring you our top DFS NFL picks at each position, separating them into cash game and GPP plays. Cash game options generally come with less risk and a more stable floor, while the best GPP plays can come with tons of risk and upside. Taking a chance on players with high ceilings and low floors is a good way to separate from a large tournament field. As with any DFS sport, the advice below is relevant for fantasy purposes. A player or team might be better or worse from a fantasy perspective than they are in real life due to matchup, price, game flow, etc. This is important when constructing a roster. And if you're looking for new ways to play DFS, be sure and give Boom Fantasy and Draft a try in DFS NFL. Predicting game flow can be vital towards success. Teams that are heavily favored and come through with a comfortable win will be far more likely to lean on their running game, while two teams with poor defenses and high-powered offenses could pay off by getting into a shootout. Later in the season, especially, weather will play a key factor in NFL games, so make sure to check the forecast for each Sunday. Targeting games with high over-under lines is an effective strategy for GPP formats. In DFS NFL, you can not only stack players on the same team, but use WRs and QBs from the opposition as correlation plays in the hopes that a particular game turns into a shootout and provides heavy production on both sides of the ball. In general, GPP plays are high-risk, high-reward prospects that can fizzle out and leave you empty-handed. That said, if you want to win the big money, you have to take big chances, and sometimes that means fading a safer choice for a risky play with more upside. Use these Week 2 NFL lines as a guide when constructing your lineups. Week 2 DFS NFL quarterbacks for cash games: Aaron Rodgers at ATL $9.1 thousand. FanDuel in a Week 1 game dominated by defenses from start to finish, Rodgers still managed to break 300 yards passing, hit his boy Jordy Nelson for a long TD, and he came inches away from hitting Nelson on even longer bomb to twist the knife in the final minute. Now he faces a vulnerable Falcons defense indoors, and has thrown 48 TDs with just 10 picks over 22 career starts in domes. Rodgers has carved up Atlanta to the tune of 325.2 passing YPG and a 118 passer rating over 5 career starts, and you know Matt Ryan is going to put up enough points to force the pack to keep throwing. Jameis Winston vs. Kai $7.8 thousand. FanDuel: we had to wait an extra week to see what he can in his third year, which does make Winston and the Bucs' skill players better rested ahead of their home opener. Chicago's defense appears to have made some strides, but still committed huge mental errors in allowing Austin Hooper to run free down the seam for a 70-yard TD to cost them the game in Week 1. Chicago allowed QBs to post a 93.5 passer rating last year, and Winston averaged 3.75 yards per attempt with 13 TDs and 6 int to control the flow of most games at home last season. Philip Rivers vs. Mia $7 thousand. FanDuel: probably the safest play you can find in this price range. Rivers is coming off another solid year despite a slew of injuries striking the Chargers' offense. Now HES got his main man Keenan Allen back healthy, and the two of them could carve up a Dolphins team that ranked 31st in DVOA pass defense opposing slot receivers last year. Rivers completed 61.4% of his passes with a 91.7 passer rating at home last season, and HES always capable of leading a late comeback should the Chargers fall behind. Week 2 DFS NFL quarterbacks for GPPs: Tom Brady at $9.2 thousand. FanDuel: betting against Brady and the Patriots has been a foolish endeavor over the past decade, and we should fully expect him to bounce back despite burning anyone who rostered him in Week 1. While the Chiefs have been akin to his kryptonite, the Saints' defense is as poor as ever and just made Sam Bradford look like, well, Tom Brady in their opener. The Patriots' defense looked vulnerable enough to make Alex Smith look dangerous as well, so Drew Brees and Brady could be in line for another historic shootout at the Superdome, as indicated by the early 54-point line set for this game by Vegas. Russell Wilson vs. SF $8.1 thousand. FanDuel: not only did Wilson burn anyone that gambled on him in Week 1, HES been burning owners for an entire calendar year due to his injury-plagued 2016 campaign. That bias may lead to a lower ownership rate than you might expect against a 49ers defense that still looked horrible after giving up the most YPG 406.4 and PPG 30 in the NFL last season. Only Cam Newton's seemingly impactful shoulder injury prevented the Panthers' passing attack from carving up a confused Niners secondary last Sunday, and Wilson at least proved to be healthy in his season debut. Once Seattle establishes a running game and some consistency at home, the offense should start to roll. Carson Palmer at IND $7,500. FanDuel. Palmer couldn't take advantage of a plum matchup against the worst statistical pass defense by the numbers last year, but the Lions made some key acquisitions and did a solid job bottling up Arizona's speedy receivers. That's unlikely to be the case in Week 2 against a Colts team that rolled out a red carpet for Jared Goff and his receivers without top CB Vontae Davis, allowing the Rams to post a franchise-high 49 points in Week 1. He might have one foot out the door towards retirement, and the loss of David Johnson for several weeks will force Palmer to make or break the Cardinals' season with his arm. Sign up today with our exclusive bonus code and receive 5 free entries at FanDuel.